Good afternoon. I'm Crimson Skies, and welcome to my criminal introduction in APB Reloaded. Now, for those who saw my last video, I decided to start a new character for both Enforcer and Criminal. And even though I made the Enforcer, this is my criminal progression as a new character. So to start off, I'll show the intro video for the Criminal faction.
I know you're like me. You want to change things. Question is, how? This is how. Don't need any badges or government licenses to do what we do. Just need the right attitude. Do what you want. Take what you want. Keep on moving, making deals, stirring things up. Gotta be careful, though. Lots of eyes out there watching you. And not all of them friendly. Guess it's part of the fun, though, right? Do it well, and people start to know who you are. That's good. There's a lot of competition. You gotta stay with the action if you want to stand out from the crowd. Get enough attention, and you're king of the block. But that kind of status comes with a price. You want to survive, you gotta think about hooking up with some of the bigger crews. G-Kings, Blood Roses, they all got people out there. You find them and do favors for them, they do favors for you. It's the way it works. Change is coming. Now prove you're good enough to be part of it.
Now, of course, because I had already looked at the General Info tab and the Enforcer tab last video, I'll just showcase the Criminal tab for this playthrough. The Criminal tab has a lot of interesting things in it. But for the overall view, you're basically some petty criminal or civil activist looking to take a step further, working alongside the G-Kings and Blood Roses to further your power and wealth. But there is a lot more here. First off is the mentioning of Luke Wascawi. This guy is literally the puppet master behind the rising crime and even some of the criminal organizations on the forefront of the chaos. So it's kind of crazy he's actually mentioned in the starting tab for new players, since no one would even know who he is at this point. The other interesting thing that's mentioned here is the gang battling gang part. In the early days of APB, criminals used to be able to match against other criminals, but after the matchmaking got reworked, that feature had to be removed due to the fact that enforcers were waiting too long to even be able to play missions. So it's interesting that that's even here after all these years. I guess no one thought about redoing his intro, or at least decided to omit that little bit of outdated information. With the intro stuff out of the way, I decided to quickly make a female character so that I can make outfits for both male and female for any upcoming clans I may decide to make in the future. And I wanted to keep a recognizable name, so I just went with Crimson, but with a few extra S's, which surprisingly worked. Once in the district, I went and cleared all my mail notifications. But just like my Enforcer side, I plan on staying with the new player experience until I get at least 5 contacts maxed out before I claim all my armas, guns, and gear. After clearing my notifications, we will go to our starter contact. And just like Wilson LeBoyce on the Enforcers, we have Double B on the criminal side. Now, her story is a bit sad. It starts off talking about a guy called Henry Loying, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, who was well liked and eventually managed to get out of the criminal life. And this guy had a sister who eventually got beaten up by a rival gang from the G-Kings, and Henry, when he found out, went to talk to them. But unfortunately, he got thrown off a roof and was killed. And his sister ended up witnessing this, and so she went and got a double barrel shotgun and killed them, earning her the nickname Double B. She doesn't really talk to anybody, and everybody's afraid of her and worried what she will do. Even people like Zombie avoid her because of how difficult it is to talk to her. She's basically your foot in the door with the contacts purely because since she actually tolerates you, they believe you must be worth their time. As soon as I finished reading the bio, I quickly looked at the tutorial stuff so that I can get my ammo kit, my grenade, and the 10-day lease for the Obeer. Now, unfortunately, the financial district was dead, so I had to switch over to Waterfront. Once there, I wanted to stick with the G King theme and decided to go and pledge to Terry Kwan. But of course, before we do any missions, let's look at her bio. Terry Kwan is a reporter who got really popular showcasing ride-alongs with criminal organizations. Arlen Benjamin agreed to let her interview important people in the G Kings, popularizing people like Zombie. And as she was doing all this and spending more time with the G Kings, she ended up really enjoying her time with them and the positive vibes they tended to have when around them. Eventually, she asked Arlen to actually be a part of the G Kings, but of course to keep it secret. And in exchange, she'll give Arlen info whenever she attends briefings with the Praetorians or Prentice Tigers while doing her reporting job. I think this is a fun and interesting character and really helps flesh out a small part in how the G Kings manage to operate or work around what the enforcers are doing. So, with me pledged to a contact, it is now time to play some missions. For my first mission, I got Thrude and Chestnuts as teammates and was feeling pretty confident in this team. Unfortunately, the first two objectives were so far away, I never really had a chance to even get to either of them before they got completed. But the objective on the next stage was actually fairly close, so I managed to be the first one there. Now, this is a pretty cool location because the drop spot's actually really easy to defend. I went up and got a bit of high ground. Eventually, an enemy showed up, and I tried to do a quick item drop, but I managed to pretty easily do some damage before my ally kills them with some grenades. There was a lot of grenades thrown, but they didn't quite make a push for a while. Eventually, Thru took out two of them with the 45 AP, and then at one point, an enemy tried to be sneaky, but I quickly caught on and took them out. But as I was still recovering from that fight, I ended up getting pushed by another enforcer. And even though I did do some damage, they eventually killed me. Spawning back, I remember the enforcer that I killed dropped the packages in the hallway, so I decided I'd stay close to the items. And I didn't even have to wait too long as one came running to get the items. But got distracted by my allies, making an easy kill for me. Just as that mission ended. Now that mission got me up to level 4 with Terry Kwan, getting me 2 emails. So I excitedly went to take a look at what they had to say. Her first email, she talks about the thrill of the action and how her undercover story with the G Kings is what got her hooked, but only because of how they had such a positive energy about them. On the second email, she complains about her news network not liking how one-sided her reports are becoming. She thinks it's very conspiracy theory with where all the money comes from for her news network and really talks about how she likes the G Kings and even mentions Shift, who is a future contract G King we will eventually get down the road. But with that done, I ready up for some more missions. I ended up waiting so long that I decided to do some mugging to try and push my contact level a little further as I searched for a mission. And eventually I got a mission, teaming up with Not Asian. I managed to get to the objective, but I ran right into an enforcer using an AMG and was very quickly deleted by them. Spotting back, I tried to group with my ally, but I quickly spot an enemy player. Attempting to engage him, I frustratingly somehow lose this fight and die. We spawn back and head to the objective. One of the enforcers was out in the road and we quickly clean him up. The other player comes out and tries to engage, but we turn around and get to safety. My teammate manages to take out the other enemy player, to which we then manage to finish the objective. With the item in hand, my ally and I head to the drop point. On the way there, one of the enforcers shoot at us, to which we hop out and engage. Unfortunately, I died, but my ally managed to clean up the kill. Spotting back, I group up with my ally and we continue to push towards the objective. Opening one of the doors, I managed to spawn an enemy and begin to open fire on him. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish him, so I relocated as my ally continued to apply pressure. At one point, the other enemy caught my teammate and killed him, but I was close enough to be able to clean up the kill. Barely surviving, I ran through the buildings to get to a better spot. Grouping up with my teammate again, we then push up an alleyway. One of the players was right on the corner, and we quickly take them out. Spotting the second one trying to ambush us, we did enough damage for both of us to be able to survive, allowing us to make the drop. As we get to the car spawner, one of the enforcers tried to catch me out in the open, but fortunately they didn't really react quick enough, and I was able to kill them without much trouble. When we get to the next objective, my teammates separated from me and got killed. I wasn't really able to trade because I didn't know how badly hurt the enemy was, so I chose not to push. But one of the players just arrived and kind of drove up and started shooting at me. So I did manage to, fortunately, I don't know how, but I killed him. But I was so low health that I decided to wait for my teammate. As soon as he spawned, we pushed in and started taking the objective. One of the enforcers engaged my teammate, and so I fell off the objective and got in the fight, killing that player and hopping back on the objective, only for the other player to show up and fight me as well. Unfortunately, I didn't heal from the previous shootout and was killed as I tried to retreat. Spawning back, I decided to push around the building, managing to catch a silver out in the open, and right as I killed him, the gold attacks me from behind. But I was so close to some cover and managed to survive as my ally cleans up the gold, giving us a perfect opportunity to clear both objectives. As we were heading to the next objective, the gold spawned in front of us and opened fire, so we just hopped out and quickly put them down. A little further up, we also spotted the silver, so I simply ran him over before we continued on to the drop point. Because we kind of took a long way around to the objective, the enemy silver managed to get in a really good defensive location to keep us off the objective. I decided to split off and flank the silver as my ally keeps him focused in the other direction, allowing me a quick and easy kill. Funny enough, the gold didn't even notice, so I managed to get a double without much trouble, allowing me to make the drop. My ally and I grouped up and made our way to the enemy players since the final stage was just a team deathmatch. One of the enforcers, the gold, ended up switching to an Osma, so I made a quick dash to some safety as they fired. Unfortunately, my teammate got killed, but the enemy silver got way too confident and walked right into me. Due to the gold having an Osma, I was very cautious with engaging them until I had my ally back in the fight. Now, both sides were trying to play super defensive, and we kept hugging corners for most of the stage. At one point, the enemy silver got caught out in the open, allowing us to clean them up and take the advantage in the mission. To which I then chased a gold player until he finally ran out of cover to hide from me, effectively solidifying our win in this mission. They did try to push us utilizing their explosives, but ultimately failed. At one point, during their aggression, the silver got separated, so I rushed him for a quick kill, and with the gold by themselves, we rushed the enemy player. Unfortunately, I die in the process, but my ally easily got the trade. And with that, we won the mission, getting Terry Kwan up to level 8, getting me 2 more emails. So let's check them out. The first one, she talks about how she hates attending CSA organization press briefings, but is happy that she gets to since she can pick up inside information for the G-Kings. She then proceeds to let you know that you are coming up as a potential person of interest for the enforcer organizations. Her second email, she talks about how dangerous things would be for her if she were ever found out, and warns you about the Shadow Strike organization within the Praetorians, mentioning about how a reporter was killed a while back who was supposedly looking into them, and for you to be careful. So, with that out of the way, time to ready up in hopes of maxing out this contact with one last mission. For this mission, I was grouped with a silver and a bronze. For this mission, I was grouped with a silver and a bronze player, and so I made my way over to our objective. Things immediately weren't looking good as both of my teammates died as I got there. Catching an enemy silver by themselves, I quickly put them down before hopping back in my car to stay alive. Seeing one on the roof, I quickly relocated in hopes of trying to get a better angle, running right into another silver enforcer. Unfortunately, another enforcer was in a really good position to catch me out and ended up killing me before I could get to safety. Spawning back, I tried to catch up with my teammates who were both on the objective, but the gold enforcer caught me off guard and killed me again. Spawning back, I spot an enemy enforcer on the roof and try to take some pot shots, but another enemy was behind me and quickly killed me again. This time I attempt to just stay alive so that I can group with my team. But they just kept getting killed before even getting close to the objective, so I decided to hunt down one of the enforcers who seemed isolated from their team. Once they were dead, I moved back to the objective. Catching another enemy out, I begin to shoot at them. As soon as they take cover, I see a teammate run right past them, completely unaware of what was happening literally right next to them, and die. So, as the enforcer was distracted shooting at my teammate, I quickly killed him off. Unfortunately, though, I did expose myself in the process, so I ended up getting killed almost very quickly after. And with that, the mission ended. And unfortunately, we didn't max out the contact, which means we gotta play one more mission. But as I was mugging people while I waited, because it takes like 20 minutes for me to find a gosh darn mission nowadays, somebody had witnessed me, killing me in the process. I'm shocked that LO hasn't removed this feature yet. Absolute blasphemy, I say. Spawning back, I rush to the enemy drop, getting worried as I see the enemy beating me to the location. But I sprint in and manage to gun them down before they can turn in my hard-earned cash. I pick up the money and go over to my drop point, managing to turn in the process without any problems. Sadly, I still hadn't maxed out my contact with that bonus mission, so time to ready for my real last mission. Teaming up with Rosemary for this one, I make my way to the objective. As I get close, my ally somehow manages to kill themselves, giving me a lot of faith that they're going to be very helpful this mission. Spotting one of the enforcers climbing the ladder, I hop out and quickly delete them, running to safety before the other one can do harm. I throw a grenade at the other enforcer since they hadn't left the vehicle and managed to blow up the car, allowing me to finish the objective without much issue. I then make my way to the second location, which was just a simple checkpoint, but this is when things started to get pretty interesting. The enemy enforcers managed to beat me to the objective and almost killed me. I ran around and tried to get up one of the ladders, but the enemy was paying very close attention. I decided to go inside the main building and actually caught one of the enforcers just not paying attention. Killing them, I proceed inside, managing to find a way up without the other enforcer being able to see me. Unfortunately, I make a bad play and I get killed, but spawning back, I manage to get back up on the roof without much issue, catching that sneaky enforcer off guard and quickly killing them. Even better, the other enforcer was just out in the open, meaning now the objective is unopposed. My ally moves to Fresno and we make our way to the drop point. But not before cleaning up both of enforcers, of course. With the drop complete, I make my way to the package, beating the enemy to the item and even managing to kill both of them. As I was moving the package, I end up running right into an enemy, but fortunately, I made quick work of them. Due to me being badly injured, though, I play defensive and try to just suppress the other enforcer, hoping my ally would eventually come back me up. Sadly, I do die, but my teammate does clean up the kill. As I come back, I see my teammate getting pushed by the enemy, but they were completely out in the open for me, so I quickly put them down. Getting the package in a fairly safe area, I decide to run around and check where the enforcers are, completely catching one unprepared for me. But sadly, the other enforcer manages to finish me off. Even worse, killing my teammate. I try to put pressure on them, but I couldn't get a good angle. Trying to relocate, I get completely caught in the open, dying in the process. The enforcers managed to move the package to a pretty good defensive spot. And since I wasn't used to playing on stretch res still, my grenades, for some reason, I couldn't properly time them, missing all my nades. Eventually, my teammate catches up to me and we attempt to climb the ladder, but we fail as both of us die. I make my way back and attempt to try and throw some more accurate grenades, but I just can't get the trajectory right at all. And so, since those grenades fail to kill the enemy on the roof, I suicide up the ladder, hoping to maybe do enough damage for my teammate. But my teammate doesn't bother going up the ladder. And so, as I run back to the objective, the mission ends miserably for me. And with me having maxed out Terry Kwan, I guess we'll check the email before I call it a day. In this one, you're basically her go-to now, talking about how getting fired is the least of her concerns, since the Praetorians are already not happy with the media. They would lose it if they knew she was working with the G-Kings. She says thanks again, and then that's it. With me done with Terry Kwan, I'm done for the day. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you like this format, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, peace, 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 bye.